Hello, viewer, and welcome to Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And on Spotlight, we are always doing our very best to bring to you persons, institutions that are doing significant things in the community in the direction of light. And we want to appreciate your support as you have been part of this program and as you have made this program one of the programs that you really love to watch. We really appreciate. Also, thank you for making Hope TV also the station that you love to watch, and we want to appreciate all the support you give to us. And just again to remind us that we can be friends of hope. You can be a friend of Hope Media, keeping hope alive and just keeping Jesus Christ, being propagated through this media station. So you can be a friend of hope if you're not already. And you can do that by, of course, praying for the mission of this station, but also by contributing, because every time we send out these programs, we require the support, financial support as well. So you can support and be a friend of hope by sending a contribution as God guides you. And there's a number right there that's scrolling on your screen. Please do send us your support, and your support helps us to reach out to many more people, and again keeping Jesus Christ alive on the airwaves. And on Spotlight here, on this edition, we are engaging an important subject. That's the subject of justice. Now, I don't know whether you have encountered a situation where you're seeking justice. There has been a situation that has made you maybe find yourself going to the courts and looking for a fair ruling, looking for justice. And that's it's a very critical matter, because some of the people who really suffer in our community are people who think that or believe that they deserve justice, but justice doesn't quite happen to them. And some of those instances are so difficult that we need institutions that support people to gain justice. And one of those institutions is the International Justice Mission. We'll be talking about that, knowing more about International Justice Mission. And to help us do that, we want to welcome to Spotlight today Esther Njuguna. Esther Njuguna is the Senior Coordinator, Survivor Services at the International Justice Mission. And later on in the next segment, we'll be talking to Beth Njoki as well. She'll be joining the set here. She is actually a survivor and a member of the Kenya Champions of Justice. You want to learn about this, you want to hear these things, and definitely you will leave this program. By the end of it all, you will have learned something that you really, really need to know, something that's helpful to you, that you can also help others on the matter of justice. Esther, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Hope TV.
Asante sana.
Yeah, and viewer, as always, you're part of this program. Do engage us, and just let's know what you have to say about the pursuit of justice. Now, Esther, when you are at the International Justice Mission, the people would want to know what exactly is the International Justice Mission. What do you do? Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you once again for having me here. International Justice Mission, our friends call us IJM, commonly known as IJM, is a global organization, a Christian global organization that comprises of lawyers, social workers, psychologists, investigators who are former police officers, community persons, church and community persons, working together towards bringing justice or securing safety for people living in poverty, experiencing different violence, as well as supporting survivors through trauma-informed approaches to enable them work on the journey towards restoration, as well as holding perpetrators accountable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Some people may not know
Yeah.
how long IJM, International Justice Mission,
Yeah.
has been in operation.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us about that as well,
So International Justice Mission
especially in Kenya.
in Kenya.
Yeah.
So it began in 2001. And IJM's founder was working for the UN on a UN mission in Rwanda, and he just saw the injustice that was there, and he just thought, I have to do something about it. And so that's where it started. That's where the dream started. And so over the years, we have gone into many other countries around the world, doing the work of justice. And in Kenya specifically, we work on matters child sexual violence and police accountability cases or police abuse of power. And we have been around for a very long time, 20 years.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
a very long time, yeah.
Okay. I think that's good to know.
Yes.
And, when you talk about justice, justice is a very significant part of our lives. Because if you are in a society with systems, you expect fairness, right? And you've talked about IJM focusing on specifically child sexual abuse and also police accountability.
Yes.
In light of justice, why has IJM picked on these two specialities, so to speak?
So IJM being a Christian organization, we feel that we are called to do this work. It's a calling. It's a calling to do this work because of God's heart towards justice. And we are guided by Isaiah 1:17, asking us, to plead the cause of the widow, of the orphan, bring justice. And Micah 6:8. God cares about justice. He wants us, while we're on this earth, to enjoy a life where there's justice in the way we engage with each other, in the systems that we have. And you can see specifically in different verses in the Bible that he calls us as Christians to do that and advocate for that. So for us, that is why we do it. And we don't do it alone. We also rally other Christians. And actually, at the office, we are just rallying together as believers, obeying the word of God, the calling of God, towards doing this work and actually being transformed by this work as we do it.
Okay. But you talked about a calling.
Yes.
And I think it's good for us to know about you.
Yes.
Because the area of justice, as we say, is a very specialized area, but at the same time, very critical.
Yeah.
So when you, as Esther, when you work at IJM, do you feel you're working a job?
Yeah.
Or do you feel a sense of calling
Yeah.
to delivering justice or seeing justice done?
Yeah. So, I've been at this for the last very many years.
You can tell us how many years. Yeah.
16 years. This is the 17th year.
Yeah, that's enough for you to be an expert.
Yes, and
Yeah.
my life has actually been transformed by this work that I do. I have been able to see God's intervention in the most darkest of places. I have seen humans can be really dark, and I have also now believed in the power of God to save humans. And using people, using us, using me as the hands and feet to reach out to that person who's not able to advocate for themselves because of their life circumstances, for example, poverty. And they might not have the resources that, a middle class, upper class Kenyan citizen may have. And so, no, it's really not a job, because every interaction with a client can either be positive or negative. And when they look at me, they see more beyond me. And that is how I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm very cognizant of the fact that this is more than a job, and that I am, God is using me to change or transform people's lives and to see His light through the work that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we talk about police accountability. In itself, it's almost ironic
Yeah.
because you wouldn't expect that there are crimes around the police
Yeah.
because the police are supposed to be they're supposed to deliver justice. What are some of the places or kinds of situations where you can say the police have actually been caught as not delivering justice but interfering with it?
Mostly on areas of investigations where poor investigations have been conducted. And in that case, innocent people have found themselves behind bars. And we see lots of those cases. Or trumped up charges because of one issue or another. And people have to fight for their freedom for things or situations or crimes they never committed. And so that is very rampant in the kind of cases that we see, as well as extrajudicial killing, where people have been murdered and not gone through the proper processes of processing crime, in the public justice system. Yeah.
Okay, and this I know this is a sensitive matter talking about the police force.
Yeah.
But when you look at the cases that sometimes are brought and the police officers are involved, they are charged, it tends to create a picture of a police force that is not trustworthy. But from your experience, in terms of this stereotype
Yeah.
of the police force,
Yeah.
would you define the police force as reliable or one that is maybe far from reliable?
I'd say reliable. Honestly, it's just a small group of officers, who turn rogue. Because, we don't do this work away from the public justice system. We partner with the police. Because we're not the police. The police actually investigate these cases. We have worked with them closely in other cases where persons have been murdered and they have proper investigations have been done, and we have secured justice together for those clients. So it's just a small, portion of police officers, either because of, lack of training or just they are rogue, but they are reliable. I've met some pretty qualified, well-trained good officers doing the right thing. Yeah.
All right. And I'm thinking also that International Justice Mission may be looking at not just, or in relation to delivering justice to innocent people who are charged falsely or who are facing, who needs, like you say, bail maybe is too high and needs to be brought down, as a preventive dimension of the work of IJM. What are some of the programs you have with the small group of, or to reduce the small group of what you can say rogue police to make it even smaller?
So, working closely, some of the interventions have been through training, of just capacity building in different areas, and as well as one of the biggest wins for IJM has been the partnership with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, where now we have decision to charge, where you are really looking at the evidence brought before you as a prosecutor before making a decision to charge. Then we would not have cases like, for example, Beth, one with here today, Jacinta, and many other clients that we have supported, because you'll be able to see that, the ingredients have not yet been met. And so go back and do some more work. So that will reduce this number of cases. With continuous implementation of this decision to charge, we'll see the number of cases of people who are, wrongfully charged, but you may say that, reduce significantly.
Okay.
So apart from that, I mean, we work really closely with all these departments so that we are able to identify the gaps. So we have casework as one of our models of working, where we are actually working together so that we can identify the gaps. Is it training in terms of capacity? Is it resources? Is it workload? What is ailing the criminal justice system in delivering its mandate? And then once we identify the gaps, we are able to advocate for the issues that we see. Advocate either in policy, advocate for more resources. We are able to really, identify and advocate for those things. Because essentially what we want to see is a criminal justice system that is reliable, that I am sure that I'll be treated fairly, my matter will move speedily, and I'll receive justice at the end of the day. So we want people not to feel like, people sometimes have kangaroo meetings because you're feeling like I can't rely on the criminal justice system. We want reliance to be high, and then we want the prevalence for the crime to go low.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just thinking about the individual person, sometimes in the course of your work,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the trainings and all that, the aspect of values, to what extent to, let's say, the police officers who would be maybe part of trumped up charges, or to what extent is it a values problem from your experience?
It could be. I mean, it is generally, because apart from being professionals, we morality also plays a role in that. And because we can't go policing morality, the way we do it is by holding those perpetrators accountable. So if you commit a crime, you're held accountable, and we are hoping that that will deter somebody else who was halfway thinking, I can do it, I can get away with it, thinking, maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, the case of Willie Kimani, who was my colleague, who was murdered.
We'll talk about that, because that was a highly publicized case.
It was, yeah.
And because it's connected with that. At what point does IJM look like a friend
Yeah.
to the police force?
Yeah.
Do people see you enter a space
Yeah.
and say, these are the people who actually come after us? These are the people who,
Yeah.
charge us. These are people who cause us trouble.
No.
What is your reputation
Yeah.
when it comes to the police force?
Friends. Friends, because as I've told you, it's only a small group. We work very closely with the police, because the police are an integral part of the criminal justice system, and that chain cannot be complete without the police, because they conduct the investigations. So we work very closely with the police in terms of training, and it is mutual. We share knowledge and experience, and build each other's capacity to do this work and do it well. So it's not really, unless somebody's doing something wrong, they'll be afraid. But generally, it's usually a very warm welcome, and we work very closely and very well together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sometimes threatened in your work, or feel so?
I would say, we are not ignorant of the risk. We are not ignorant of the risk, but we've taken the necessary measures to ensure that we're safe, and we rely on the police to keep us safe. And so we take the necessary measures to ensure that we are safe doing this work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just I stopped you at a point when you were already talking about some of your very publicized cases that have seen completion and have seen justice delivered at the end of the process. And you can mention maybe one, two of those.
Yeah. So for what I was saying in Willie's case,
you can tell our viewers about the
Willie's,
case.
yeah, so,
just a brief way.
So Willie Kimani was my colleague working in IJN Kenya office, and was murdered in the course of his duty. And so that was very close to home.
Where his duty is like what you do.
So he was a lawyer, and he had gone to court and was abducted from court, and he just never came back home. And so during that whole process, I mean, it was now very close to home, and yes, we were aware of the risks, but this now was, very, very close to home. And one of the things with that judgment is that we hoped by how publicized it was and how well written the judgment was.
You can refresh us about
Yes.
what the judgment was.
So one of the officers, the lady officer who had been charged, was actually convicted for inaction, if I can call it that, where you see something wrong happening and you don't do what is right. And so I think that calls on many officers, like you can't just be a bystander when these things are going wrong. Because even in these cases where persons are murdered or persons are wrongfully charged, somebody somewhere knows this is happening, but they just choose to look the other way. And so that case and a recent one for a lady known as Jacinta as well as Beth, these were moms, single moms who are going about their business, arrested, put in Langata, charged with robbery with violence. At the end of it, I mean, they weren't, they hadn't done the crimes, and as well as in terms of evidence and investigations, they were poorly done. And so when we look at these cases, and when these clients have actually now found their freedom, they step out boldly to really advocate for the rights of others. Because rightly, as you said, police accountability matters are sensitive, and people do not want to be involved. Something has happened, and I don't want to speak about it because I don't want to die. You know, it's okay, ilifanyika, wacha tu hiyo, nisahau. But what happens is that if you do not seek justice, or if people do not come forward and report these cases, it means that this person continues to terrify wherever he is. And what we want is that this person does not terrify anymore.
Yeah. And you've talked about people being terrified.
Yeah.
And the police station is not a place where people associate often with fairness. You would rather actually try and many people would rather try and like solve their challenges outside because they don't associate the police station with justice. Sometimes they associate it with extortion, and with sometimes their cases not being taken as intensely with the insensitivity. And from at IJM, do you have some programs that you do to help sensitize the public that in a way that they can be people who strengthen the police station or people who show that show that the cause of justice they are part of cleaning up so to say the justice process.
I mean, we have community engagements. We call them community dialogues, where we invite all these players. And when a person is not able to report their nearest police station, there are other organizations or other organizations that they can report to. Internal Affairs Unit and IPOR, Independent Police Oversight Authority, where if you're not feeling confident, we support them to go and make these reports because these are the persons who are mandated to investigate these cases or these accusations. And so we normally have community dialogues where we bring together the police, persons from IAU, persons from IPOA, prosecutors, so that we can just have a dialogue, just like a baraza. Let's have a conversation about the issues that are ailing us and how we feel that we are not going to get justice if we report to the police station. Tell us, what are you doing so that we can rely on you and be sure that I'll be treated fairly when I come to you. Okay. So we open up these forums so that people have an opportunity to ask these questions, and so that we allow the good officers to be able to explain to the community, what is happening, what their rights are, and what they can expect from them, if they come to the police stations.
Okay. Just before you go for the break, just briefly, what is the prevalence rather of child sexual abuse from your experience?
It's very high, and mostly from most of the cases that we deal with are people well known to the children, persons in their circle of trust. That could be caregivers, parents, teachers, pastors. So yeah.
So you say it's very
It is
high.
It is
It's that sad.
It is sad.
In a community that that thrives in traditional values, what we call the African traditional values, where children are supposed to be safe and where children are part of the community. To hear that their children are mostly abused by people known to them, relatives, I think that's a big matter of concern. I'm glad that IJM is on the front line of that matter as well.
And it doesn't discriminate. Sometimes people think child sexual abuse is maybe in low-income areas. It doesn't. In fact, the greatest challenges is middle class or upper class homes. People tend to keep quiet with that information because it's somebody within the family and they want to keep the good name of the family. So it's a big challenge there, actually.
Okay. I think IJM is really on an intense front line when it comes to the police accountability, when it comes to child abuse. I mean, that's intense and quite a real battlefront when it comes to mission. Viewer, we are talking to the International Justice Mission and just discussing the matter of the pursuit of justice. And just wondering, for you as a viewer, what role are you playing to make sure that the people around you are actually receiving justice? And also, are you just yourself? Are you an agent of justice? Now, we're taking a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Beth Njoki joining the set. And Beth Njoki is actually a survivor, and out of that surviving, we'll get to know what surviving is in this context. Out of that surviving, she's now a member of the Kenya Champions of Justice. You want to hear her story. This is Spotlight. We're taking a short break. I'll be right back.
In order to keep hope alive in the airwaves, Hope Media has a couple of initiatives. Friends of Hope. Friends of Hope is you and I forming a team of well-wishers and volunteers who give in cash and kind to support in spreading the gospel at Hope Media. Currently, Hope Media is running a campaign under Friends of Hope dubbed 100 for 1. Through the campaign, Hope Media is asking Hope FM and Hope TV listeners and viewers to give just 100 shillings in order to reach one more soul with the message of hope and the gospel. Engage with us on our social media platforms at Hope FM Live and at Hope TV Kenya. Kuwa rafiki mso leo.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Mtoto gani katika hii ulimwengu ameitwa Mungu mkuu?
Nasema akasema udhu billahi.
Hata leo usisema udhu billahi, tafadhali usikize.
Yesu ndiye njia. Uchambuzi wa masuala tata katika Biblia na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
No, we don't believe that Christ was crucified. Christ was taken right to heaven by 4 angels, 4 archangels.
Kama Muhammad ndiye alikuwa wa kwanza kuleta dini ya Kiislamu na alikuja after Jesus, sasa inawezekanaje Ibrahimu awe Muislamu, Musa awe Muislamu?
Yesu ndiye njia. Jadala wa moja kwa moja kati ya walimu wa Kikristu na dini zingine.
Wanasema Mwenyezi Mungu ana mtoto. Jambo hilo wanasema limeleta jambo ambalo linachukiza.
Siri ya Mungu ambaye Mungu amejidhihirisha katika mili. Hii yote ni ukafiri.
Mmefanya makosa makubwa sana kusema kwamba Isa ibn Maryam ni Mungu wa pili na Allah ambaye ameumba mbingu na ardhi mkasema ni Mungu wa tatu.
Yesu ndiye njia. Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1:30 jioni kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
In order to keep hope alive in the airwaves, Hope Media has a couple of initiatives. Friends of Hope. Friends of Hope is you and I forming a team of well-wishers and volunteers who give in cash and kind to support in spreading the gospel at Hope Media. Currently, Hope Media is running a campaign under Friends of Hope dubbed 100 for 1. Through the campaign, Hope Media is asking Hope FM and Hope TV listeners and viewers to give just 100 shillings in order to reach one more soul with the message of hope and the gospel. Engage with us on our social media platforms at Hope FM Live and at Hope TV Kenya. Kuwa rafiki mso leo.
Viewer, welcome back. This is Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And we are talking about the pursuit of justice, and featuring on this program of Spotlight, the International Justice Mission and its work. And to help us, again, support us as a station to keep doing this work, remember that you can be a friend of hope by, of course, praying for the station, and also importantly, making a contribution towards the operations of the station. And the numbers are down there on the screen. You can make a contribution as the Spirit of God moves you, so that we can keep doing this good work in a way that becomes even better. Now, we're talking about justice here, a very critical matter. And we have with us Esther Juguna, who is the Senior Coordinator, Survivor Services at IJM. And now on set, we have been joined by Beth Njoki, who is a survivor and member of the Kenya Champions of Justice. Sounds like something you would want to be part of, the Kenya Champions of Justice. Now, continuing with this conversation, Esther, maybe in the context of International Justice Mission, you can tell us who a survivor is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, a survivor in our context is a victim of police accountability. Mm-hmm. So they suffered violence, and through the work that we do with them, our trauma-informed approaches, which includes offering psychosocial support to deal with the trauma that comes from these experiences, have now been able to work through that, and are able to now live their lives, pick up their lives well towards restoration. Restoration meaning that this situation becomes part of their story, not the whole story. And they're actually able to now engage freely back in the community.
Yeah, so survivor is, in IJM context, one who has been rescued from injustice.
Yes, with a lived experience.
With a lived experience.
Yes.
Okay. Beth Njoki, karibu sana.
Asante.
Na hiyo smile inaonekana kweli Mungu amekutendea.
Kabisa.
Na asante sana kwa kuja ili utuambie experience yako kwa njia fupi tu, yale uliyopitia.
Ilianza 2013. Mimi ushona gunia. Mimi ushonea kwetu kwa ploti kwa barabara. Wakati huo naye firstborn wangu alikuwa ameweka ka hoteli tu kadogo huko kwa kijiji. But tulikuwa tu hivi next. Niko mkono wa left, yeye wa right. Sasa hiyo asubuhi alikuwa anataka kutumia kuni. Wakati alienda akaakisha moto yake, sufuria yenye alikuwa atumie ilikuwa ndogo kuliko ile zile mawe. Sasa tunaishi kwa plot moja kama familia. Sasa alitoka akaenda nyuma. Nyuma kuna nyumba ya anko yake. Alikuwa ameenda kutafuta mesh wire. Ndio kuja wekele, ndio ile mesh wire ishike kwa ile sufuria. Sasa alinipita tu na akateremka. Dakika hazikupita 5, nikaona ametoka ako pingu. Ako na pingu, akaniambia mam, nimeshikwa. Anaitwa Josephat. Nikamuuliza umefanya nini? Wameniambia ati mimi ninaunganisha stima bila idhini. Nikamuuliza sikuoni na plies, sikuoni na waya, ulikuwa unaunganisha na nini? Akaniambia hata mimi nimeshangaa. Aya, nikamuuliza sasa wamekushika wakaanza kumpeleka. Akawaambia na waomba, nilikuwa nimefungua biashara yangu, mniruhusu nifunge kama mnanipeleka station. Walikaa ni kama wanakataa. Na mimi nikasimama nikaambia hapana, kwa sababu ni biashara yake na mmemshika, mpatieni nafasi afunge. Walimsikia akafunga na wakampeleka Kariobangi police station. Walipompeleka, Mimi nilifuata tu kwa mguu kidogo, nikafunga yangu na nikawafuata. Nilipofika station nilipata madam, yeye ndio alikuwa in charge. Nikamwambia nimefuata kijana wangu, na kwa sababu ilikuwa on Friday, nikamuuliza kama anaweza msaidia na bill ndio atoke aende kotini Monday. Akaniambia inawezekana. Akaniuliza kama niko na 2000. Nikamwambia niko nazo. Nikampatia 2000. Badala ya kuniandikia risiti, aligawa zile pesa mara mbili. Akaniambia, mam, tunaweza malizia hiyo maneno tu hapa. Wacha nibaki na hii 1000 na wewe uende na 1000 na kijana wako. Nikaridhika tu, nikamwambia sawa. But wakati kijana alifunguliwa tukafika pale karibu na gate, kijana aliniuliza, mam, nimeachiliwaje? Nikampatia ako ka story, akaniambia hapana. Kwa sababu alipofika station aliandikiwa mugging, kunyonga mtu. Amepatikana akinyonga mtu. Akaniambia, mam, mimi sijanyonga mtu. Kwa nini 1000 yako iende hivyo bure? Akaniambia, mimi nirudishe ndani, urudishiwe 1000 yako kama kuna mwenye nilikuwa nimenyonga na mimi nipelekwe kotini. Nikamwambia hatutarudi hapa. Nikamwambia tutaenda Pangani. Tukaenda Pangani, tukapata OSPD, tukamuelezea na OSPD akapiga simu, akapeana story yenye tumempea. Akasema kijana anasema kama yeye alikuwa amenyonga mtu na apelekwe kotini. Kama hakuwa amenyonga mtu, mama yake arudishiwe 1000. Tukafika Kariobangi, nikakuta yule madam ako tayari na ile 1000 yangu moja akanipatia na akarudisha kijana cell. Sasa ni bado hiyo Friday. Sasa Saturday mimi niliendelea na niliamkia tu kazi yangu, nikaendelea na kufua. Kukakuja kijana kaniambia, mama niko unaitwa Kariobangi na nani? OCS. Nikaenda. Akaniambia tumechunguza tukaona kijana wako hakuwa na makosa na hatufai kumweka hapa. Chukua kijana wako muende nyumba. Nikaachiliwa kijana wangu na nikaenda nyumbani. Mimi nikadhani story imeisha hivyo. Ilikaa karibu mwaka mzima. Wale tu polisi wakakuja mahali sasa nashonea. Kulikuwa na vijana wananipenda kwa kijiji. Walikuwa tu wamekaa hapo tu next kwangu. Hapo nje ninashonea, ndani wako nje wanapiga stori zao. Nikishona tu nikasikia makelele, hapana mimi sijanyang'anya mtu. Nikatoka kuangalia, nikakuta ni wale vijana walikuwa hapo wanafungwa tena pingu. Yule polisi tu tulipoangaliana hivi na macho wakaniambia, umetoka? Nikamwambia si nimesikia makelele. Fanya hivi, kimbia mahali unakimbianga. Useme, sasa ni yule polisi ananiambia, kimbia mahali unakimbianga, useme tumeshika vijana hapa kwako. Nikamwambia wacha nikuambie, hapa ni kwa kijiji. Hawa vijana umeshika, kila mmoja ako na mzazi wake. Nishika vijana 3. Kila mzazi anajua venye anafuatilianga haki za mtoto wake. Hapo hakuna wangu umeshika. But kama wangu angekuwa ningefuata tu. Haya. Akaniambia huyo wako mwenye umezoea kufuata, raundi hii hautamfuata akiwa uhai. Utamfuata akiwa maiti. Nikastuka. Nikasema hiyo ni threat. Nikamwambia, nilichukua tu pikipiki hapo, nikamwambia wacha na mimi nikaripoti hiyo juu hiyo ni threat. Umeniambia utaua mtoto wangu. Kufika station nimejipeleka vizuri. Kufika niliinuliwa juu hivi. Nikarushwa ndani, nikauliza nimefanya nini? Alikuwa ashapiga simu. Akasema nimemkataza kufanya kazi yake kwa kijiji. Sasa nilifika pale kama nimeshikwa nikawekwa cell. Kuuliza nimefanya nini? Nikaambiwa wewe utajua. Nikiwa hapo kwa OB, nikaona nao wamekuja na wale vijana. But kuna polisi walikuja na kwa pikipiki. Sasa yule mmoja akaingia na akaanza kunibook. Nikauliza nimefanya nini? Nikaambiwa utajua. Hapo tu nikaanza kupigwa. Nikauliza na mnanipiga kwa nini? Sasa yule mmoja alikuwa anaitwa Galgalo akaambia mwenye alikuwa ananipiga, wacha kumpiga, wacha tumfunze na kalamu. Sasa mimi nikaandikiwa, sikujua nimeandikiwa nini. Wale vijana pia wakafikishwa na tukawekwa ndani. Sasa ilichukua siku moja. Wale vijana nikaona tu wanatoka mmoja. Nikiwa cell, polisi wanakuja na niambia, Beth, siongee na huyu polisi vizuri. Nikamuza naongea na yeye vizuri, nimemfanyia nini? Wakaniambia wewe usigojee kitu yenye anataka kukufanyia. Nikamwambia nitagojea juu sijui mnataka niongee na yeye nini. Nitagojea kenye anataka. Sasa nilikaa cell siku 2, nikapigia babangu akakuja. Ndivyo babangu akatoka reserve, akakuja akaambiwa aende atafute title deed. Sasa baba anashindwa nini? Hakuna mwenye anamuelezea title deed unatafuta ya nini. Naambiwa wewe ndio utayarishe title deed. Ndio siku ikafika, vijana wote waliachiliwa. Sasa niko ndani sijui wanaachiliwa na njia gani. Sasa siku ikafika, nilikaa cell siku 2, siku ya 3 nikapelekwa kotini. Mimi
wakati huu wote hujui umefanya nini?
Sijui nimefanya nini. Mimi naambiwa tu ongea na yule polisi. Na nawauliza naongea na yeye nini? Naambiwa usigojee Kenya amekupangia. Nikasema mimi nitagojea sababu sijui nimemfanyia nini. Sasa ndio ikafika na nikapelekwa kotini. Sasa nikiwa pale kotini nikasikia jaji nikasomewa. Kasemekana nimestakiwa na robbery with violence. Sasa mimi sikujua robbery with violence ni nini. Pakasimama mwingine hapo kando, sijawahi stakiwa tena. Akaniambia na ujue ile mashtaka unastakiwa nayo unaweza fungwa maisha ukipatikana na hatia. Sasa mimi nikashindwa ni nini, mimi ni mgeni. Nilichukua tu mkono nikaelezea jaji story yangu. Akaniambia kwa saa hii wewe hujastakiwa na polisi, umestakiwa kuna mwenye umemnyang'anya simu mkiwa wengi, mkiwa mmejihami, umemnyang'anya simu na pesa zake. Sasa mimi nikakaa shangaa, kasomewa na nikaitishwa bondi ya 1 million. Wakati huo babangu ashatoka nyumbani, sasa ako hapa. Nikasomewa, nikaitishwa bondi ya 1 million. Na ikawa ni hivyo, nikapelekwa Lang'ata juu hakukuwa na 1 million saa hiyo.
Sasa wakati huu unahisi aje katika roho yako? Unafikiria nini? Manake umetoka kwako kazini, maenda kupiga ripoti ya kuwa kuna threat, alafu sasa unakuta mko ndani, alafu sasa umechajiwa na robbery with violence. Katika akili yako na roho yako ulikuwa nahisi nini?
Sasa pale ni kuchanganikiwa, sababu hujui ni nini. Hii robbery with violence hujui utaanza wapi, utafikishana nayo wapi. Sasa ni kuanza kujiuliza maswali yenye hayana majibu.
Okay. Najua hatuna wakati mwingi sana, lakini sasa kuna bond ya 1,000,000 na huna. Sasa tuelezee ulikutana aje na International Justice Mission?
Sasa babangu alishughulika sana kwa sababu aliacha biashara, kazi zake nyumbani, akakuja akaanza kunishughulikia. Alishughulika na mpaka akafikisha ile bond. Akapata ile bond ya 1 million na nikatoka. Sasa wakati nilitoka nje, kijana wangu second born alikuwa anacheza hizi skates. Kuna mwalimu wake alikuwa anaitwa Dan. Nikamwambia Derek, nilisikia venye Kenya kilifanyikia mama yako, kuna shirika naweza muunganisha nayo. Sasa huyo ndiye aliniunganisha na IJM.
Okay. Sasa mkutana na IJM, nje na bond.
Niko nje na bond.
Sasa IJM ikakusaidia aje?
Sasa IJM ya kwanza walinichukua ile section ya counseling. Kwa sababu ile wakati umechanganikiwa na maisha, nilikuwa naamka sijui nianze wapi, nakimbia nilikuwa najaribu tu venye nitajifungua. Sasa nitajifungua kwa ile kifungo. Sasa tulipopatana na IJM, kitu ya kwanza ni hiyo counseling, wanakuongelesha. Sasa ndio wanaacha akili imerudi timamu.
Manake naona kama hata ukirudi nyumbani na kuna wale polisi bado wanakuja patrol. Ulikuwa na hisi ukiona polisi ulikuwa na hisi aje?
Sasa nikiona polisi nilikuwa naona sasa wote ni maadui. Sasa unakaa na ile uoga, ukimuona sasa unaanza kujiuliza sasa amekuja na nini ingine. Ni shida gani ingine sasa atakuletea. Ama ni kesi gani amekuja kukuandalia.
Na mwishowe kesi ulikuja kufunguliwa aje mwishowe?
Kesi sasa tulipelekana na IJM. Tulikuwa tunaenda kama ni siku ya kesi, tunaenda nao. Tulienda karibu miaka 4. kabla kesi iishe. But wakati unajua sasa yeye alisema tu pale kwa wakati wa kunibook anataka kunifundisha funzo. Sasa yeye hakuwa tayari kukesi na mimi. Yeye haja yake ilikuwa nipeleke remand nikae huko. Sababu nilipofika remand nilikuta mtu ananiambia niko na miaka 8 hapa, niko na miaka 9 hapa na robbery with violence. Sasa mimi niliona nia yake ilikuwa niweke pale hizo miaka.
Okay. Na basi baada ya miaka minne sasa ikafika pahali kesi ikaisha. Jaji alisema nini?
Alisema mlalamishi ama hao mawitness hakuna mwenye alijitokezea kwa kesi. Kwa hivyo yeye amemaliza kesi.
Okay. Na wewe ukahisi aje?
Nilifurahia. Nilifurahia kwa sababu
ulikuwa tabasamu bado iko naiona tu
mpaka saa hii
mpaka leo.
Kwa sababu ulikuwa umesikia unakesia kufungwa maisha, wakati ulipokuwa remand kweli unaona watu wamekaa. Sasa wakati niliambiwa niko huru, nilisikia ni kama nimezaliwa tena.
Ni wokovu
kweli
kwa aina nyingine. Alafu baada ya hiyo ukajoin Kenya Champions of Justice.
Kenya Champions of Justice.
Ya Kenya Champions of Justice.
Kenya Champions tulijiunga. Sasa sisi ni wenye tumedhulumiwa na polisi. Alafu tumepata usaidizi kutoka kwa IJM katika kesi yetu. Tumeungana tukiwa kwa sasa tuko 30. Tuliamua kuwa tutanyamaza. Kwa maana tukinyamaza, huku kwa slums watu ni wengi sana wanaumia. Ukienda kule kama wakati nilikuwa Lang'ata, unakutanga watu huko wako open. Unasikia huyu akisema mimi nilifanya, unasikia mwingine akasema mimi sikufanya. Kwa hivyo sasa si tuliamua hatutanyamaza, tutaongea ndivyo sauti yetu isikike. Tujaribu kuongea ili watu wajue kuna wenye wanaumia bure.
Okay. Na mipangilio yenu mkiongea mnaongelesha kina nani? Mna mikakati gani ya kuongea na pengine hata utuambie kama polisi pia mnaongelesha?
Mikakati yetu ni kuongelesha youths huko kwa kijiji. Tunaongeanga na youths, tunajaribu kuwarekebisha kama kuna mwenye ako na njia zisizofaa. Tunajaribu kuambia shida yenye iko kule ndani. Na pia polisi tunawaongeleshanga. Tunaendanga mpaka kwa stations.
Okay. Nikuulize tu Beth. Huyo polisi ni mmoja tu?
Ni mmoja.
Na unamjua?
Namjua.
Unasikia kama uko na uchungu ndani yako ama ulifika pahali ukamsamehea?
Wakati ule nilikuwa na uchungu, lakini after nilimsamehea juu hata kuna wakati tena tulipatana tu kwa kijiji. Lakini wakati ilikuwa mtoto wangu. Lakini wakati alijua ni mtoto wangu alinikujia akaniambia Beth, juu tena ilikuwa tu hiyo tu. Alikuwa anataka kumwandikia preparation. Tena ni kitu yenye haikuwa. But wakati alijua ni mtoto wangu, hakumwandikia na akaniita akaniambia Beth, ile maneno tulimaliza na tushakuwa marafiki.
Okay. Umeona kama yeye mwenyewe amebadilika? Wajua wewe ulikuwa unaenda kotini kila miaka 4. Yeye mwenyewe kama sasa polisi ambaye anakuja kwa kijiji na unamuona, unaona kama yeye anaendelea na ile mambo yake ya zamani ama yeye amebadilishwa pia na wewe kuachiliwa huru?
Wakati alipokuwa kwa hiyo kijiji yetu, ilikuwa tabia ilikuwa tu ni ile ile. Hakuwa amebadilika mpaka wakati alipoenda transfer. Tabia ilikuwa tu hiyo, si kuona amechange mimi. Kwa sababu huyu kijana mwenye anataka kuandikia preparation, kama hangekuwa wangu, kama angekuwa wa mzazi mwingine, angempeleka. Sasa alimwachilia sababu aliona tu ni wa yule Beth.
Okay. Asante sana kwa kutuambia kwa kifupi. Najua ni historia ya miaka mingi.
Miaka mingi.
Umetupatia kwa njia fupi vizuri, lakini tumeona vile haki ambayo ilikuwa karibu usiipate, ukaipata kwa sababu ya mission ya
IJM.
And I think that's Esther, it's it's an amazing story. Just to have real evidence here about what IJM is doing. And allow me to ask, because justice, you talked about different partners. And kuuliza tu Beth, unaenda kanisa? Okay, if you're too. Because how do churches, do you find churches as active partners? Do even churches know that they have a role in the matter of helping people like Beth get justice?
Yeah. So over the years, we have seen the church wake up, where every September we have a concept known as Freedom Sunday. And
Freedom Sunday.
Freedom Sunday.
Every
So
September.
Every September.
Well, I want to tell you,
Yeah.
Esther,
Yes.
some pastors who are watching this program right
Yes.
now will be hearing it for the first time.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just say more a little bit about that.
So Freedom Sunday is where we rally churches around the world in all the places where we work. And the theme or the concept of that is to rally churches alongside us, either in terms of praying, for our work or advocating for these things, because the church has a big voice. I mean, the church speaks and it is heard. So over the years, we have seen them provide their pulpits to have this conversation in the church about justice, because like Beth and many others, they are part of that community of the church. And we just want to sensitize the congregation, sensitize the church leaders on the injustices that are happening out there, and show them ways in which they can plug in.
Okay.
Yeah, they can plug in either by having, justice ministries, either by having, guiding them on areas they can advocate in terms of changes of law, or, support, and just generally supporting survivors. Because in one of the cases that I have, the church pastor actually asked a congregation member to raise bond for the young man. I mean, there was no way he would have stayed in prison all this time as he waited for his matter to be heard. But the pastor knew who he could approach in church. And I think because it's the pastor who was asking, he accepted to give his title deed. And the young man was able to come out and progress with his case while he's back at home with his family.
That's amazing. Even to hear that the church, you find a lot of response to from the churches, and maybe because that's a critical matter, and there's some churches that would want to link with what you're doing as IJM, and also there are people like Beth who want justice, and they don't know where to go. I think it's just right for you to give us the contact. Where can a church reach you, and where can a person who wants your help reach you as well?
So I'll give a number.
And you can speak right to that camera.
Yes. So this is our referral line, and members of the public can call this number. The number is 0717 72 3004. So 0717 72 3004. So there'll be a wonderful person on the other side of the line to just, talk to you on your issue and see whether there is something that IJM can be able to do.
Okay.
And if not, refer you to somebody else who can help.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving those numbers.
Yeah.
And we have some feedback here.
Yes.
A very passionate feedback again,
Yes.
appreciating the work that you're doing. And we have Davis Atundo, who is just praising just that there's a level of integrity. Mlisimamia haki. Wakati mlikuwa mmeshtakiwa, wrongly. Mulisimama na haki. So Davis Atundo is praising that integrity. And then kuna Eunice Wanjiro also. And kuna Evan Jugona. We're saying well done, Ngena. That's Ngena must be you. Keep up the good work, and may God continue blessing the work of your hands. Great work. Great work. And just a little bit before we end with with Beth here, just tell us how a church can activate the Freedom Sunday.
Freedom Sunday.
Yeah, just speak right there. How can a
Yeah.
church, like activate that Freedom Sunday?
Yes, so we are available, and although September is coming to an end, there are other ways that we can engage throughout
Well, maybe
the
they
year.
can have Freedom Sunday in October, November. Yes, yes.
It's important work. So the church, if any church out there is interested in bringing this message to their congregation or learning more about justice and how they can plug in, please use the number that I have I've given out, and you'll be directed to the right person.
Okay.
We have a reverend who works with us, a wonderful lady, and she'll be able to guide the churches on how they can plug in.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. And as we come towards the close of our very interesting conversation, let me come to you, Beth. Nikuje kwako tena. Wewe kama Mkristo, na utuambie tu kwa kifupi tu, wakati ulikuwa unapitia haya yote, mtoto wako anapitia, wewe unapitia, imani yako, ushirika wako na Mungu, ulikuwa unajengeka ama ulikuwa unasikia kama unauliza Mungu maswali mengi sana?
Hiyo wakati ni wakati ulikuwa mgumu, maswali yalikuwa mengi, sababu unauliza Mungu kwa nini? Kwa nini napitia haya? Sababu niko na watoto wako shule, mwingine ni msichana, amebaki pale kwa kijiji, hujui huyo mtoto atapitia mangapi kabla utoke pale. Sasa ilikuwa ni wakati wa maswali mengi, hujui venye nini wanakijiji watakubeba, kwa sababu kuna wale walisikia ni robbery na wakakubali kweli ni robbery. Sasa unasikianga ukiwa chini sana. Hata wakati unarudi pale kwa kijiji, unakuwa tu muoga, juu si watu wote wanakuitikia. Wengine wanakukataa, wachache ndio wanakukubali.
Lakini sasa
kwa saa hii niko sawa.
Wewe na Mungu uko sawa?
Tuko sawa kabisa.
Nasema haleluya.
Nasemanga haleluya kila wakati.
Yote yatendeka kwa wema.
Kwa wema, ni kweli. Na kwa sababu kama singepitia hayo, pengine singeweza singejua na niweze kuongea. Kwa sababu ndipo napatia watu hii kuwape nguvu kuwa mtu asinyamaze akiwa na ile shida ama kuogopa kutafuta haki yako.
Okay.
Ukitafuta haki yako utaipata.
Okay.
Lakini ukinyamazia utaumia.
Okay. Usinyamaze.
Usinyamaze.
Ukinyamaza utaumia.
Utaumia.
Ongea. Very strong words. Asante sana, Beth. And also thank you very much, Esther, for a very insightful conversation on Spotlight about justice. And we have actually very vibrant responses here. Again, there's Davis who is saying he almost went through a similar experience as Beth here. We have Ebi Gatamu who is saying it's a very insightful conversation. We have Lily Lilacs also, a very informative session, and all appreciating. Maele maongeo ambayo tumekuwa nayo hapa umesaidia watu wengi sana. So we are very, very again thankful to you, and may God bless the mission of the International Justice Mission.
Amen.
Viewer, the word from Beth is on a matter of injustice, don't keep quiet. Speak. Pursue justice. And also as a person, as a human being, as a neighbor, as a colleague, just remember you are also one who is supposed not just to receive justice, but to dispense justice, to give justice. Now listen to Micah chapter 6, verse 8 as we close. He has shown you, that is God, has shown you, O mortal man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. To act justly, to love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. This has been Spotlight. Thank you for watching.